just with setting out, we're looking at booklet 5. Ladies, you've got to decide. So in Pythagoras' theorem, today you've got mixed questions. Sometimes you're finding the hypotenuse, which is the longer side. Sometimes you're finding the shorter side. So in the first question, which one are you finding? The hypotenuse, which is the longest side. Makes sense that the longer side squared is the sum of the two shorter side squares. Now what I want you to do is always write the unknown first. So x squared equals. You're going to add those two or you're going to be subtracting? I'm finding the longer side, so you're adding 5 squared plus 12 squared. The longer side hypotenuse squared is the sum of the two shorter ones squared. So x squared equals 25 plus 144, which is 169. X is the square root of 169, which is 13. Girls, so first you look at it, you identify where the hypotenuse is, where the longest side is. There's the hypotenuse. You know that. So you're finding a shorter side. Do you see that? If you know what the hypotenuse is, you know the longest side. So I'm finding one of the shorter sides. Shorter side, I subtract. It's because x squared plus 16 squared is 20 squared. I like to write it as x squared is what? Come on.
16 squared plus 20, 100 squared minus 16 squared. Wait.
It's because x squared plus 16 squared is 20 squared. If you're finding the shorter side, you just do, so a short is a longer one minus the other short one. Does that make sense?
So the short one is, the longer one.
Minus the other short one, but it's everything squared. So it's 20 squared minus 16 squared. Please do this on your...
144.
Okay, and the square root of 144 is?
12.
Okay. So girls, that's what we're practicing, mixed ones today. I want to come across to these two. What should I do for the next one?
Make a triangle.
Very good. Make a triangle. And what sort of angle would you have here? Very good. Do you know this length here? Careful.
11.
That's 8. Very good.
So you do 8 take away 17. 2 right angles. And then Miss will do 17.
Girls, with Pythagoras' theorem, yes, very good. You're only working in a right-angled triangle, so I need to draw this up as a triangle. I know that length is 8. This is 17. That's 11. So someone has just said that this is 6 from there to there. So I've got 6 and 8. Are you finding the longer side or one of the shorter sides of that triangle? There's my triangle in red. I'm finding the longer side, so you add the two shorter ones. Squared, of course. Do you get it? So I'm finding the longest side. So x squared equals, so this is the hypotenuse. Yep, 6 squared plus 8 squared or 8 squared plus 6 squared. Please, girls, Pythagoras is not difficult. You just got to take your time, know which one's the hypotenuse. If you're finding the hypotenuse, which is the longer side, you'd obviously add the squares of the two shorter ones. And if you're finding a short side, it's the longer one minus the other shorter one. Of course, squared. Doesn't it make sense? To get a long thing, you add the two shorter ones. To get a short thing, it's the long one minus the other short one. You always write what you want first. X squared equals that square plus that square. So what's that, 100? So x is the square root of 100, which is 10. Lovely. So in the next triangle or diagram, which one are you going to do first?
The 3 and the 4. You completely ignore the bottom half of it, right?
What we needed to use this rectangle down here for is to work out this length 6. So 17 was from there to there, and this was 11. So I needed to do that this bit there was the 17 minus 11. That's why. So sometimes, girls, in Pythagoras' theorem, you're not just going to have triangles. You're going to have trapeziums like that. You'll have two triangles attached. All right, so this is what we're going to be doing for the rest of the topic now. Is not just doing straight triangles. That gets you maybe up to a level 3. When we start combining diagrams, hard 3, worded problems, we get into our B type questions. And very hard problems is a 4, a 5, an A. So let's keep going. Which triangle would you work in?
The bottom one.
Definitely the bottom one. Do you recognize 3, 4? Because I've got 2 side lengths in the bottom one, and in the top one, I've got X, 2, and Y. I've got too many unknowns. But in the bottom triangle, I can find the hypotenuse in the bottom triangle. Some of you will recognize that as a Pythagorean triad. Yeah, so you go y squared. So are you finding the longer one in the red triangle? It's 3 squared plus 4 squared. So y squared is, what's that, 25? Y is the square root of 25, which is 5. And then you might want to work in another color and do the black triangle, for example. So now we know that's 5. Or I can put it in red, whatever. Now that you know that that's 5, are you finding another hypotenuse or are you finding a shorter side? Girls, look where the X is. It's opposite. So girls, look at the right angle. The 2 and the 5 are touching the right angle. They're the shorter sides. The hypotenuse does not touch the right angle. The hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. Look at this triangle. 2, 5, they're the shorter sides. The hypotenuse, which is opposite the right angle, is the longer side. So again, I'm finding the hypotenuse. So what do I write? X squared equals, yeah, so please, so X squared is 29, isn't it? And X is the square root of 29. Just leave it like that. If you didn't know, square root of 29, you know the square root of 25, it's 5. What's the next number up? The square root of 36. So it's somewhere between 5 and 6. But that's just an estimate. Then you can do it on your calculator. What did you get? 5.3 what? 5.38. Which is what? 5.4 to 1 decimal place if you want. Okay, keep going. Can you do the next 2? I'll give you a minute to do the next 2. If 5.4. Yeah. No, I just decided to. 1 decimal place. All right, I want you to do E and F, please. Off you go. Are you, girls, do you have, that's the hypotenuse, you know it, you know the longer side. So you're finding the shorter side. What's the rule? SSS, shorter side subtract. Do you understand this is one of the, it's not the shortest, but the hypotenuse is the longest, and these two are called the shorter. They're shorter than that. So are we adding or subtracting? You always write what you want first. X squared is, remember we're trying to solve for X. Find X.
Is it 20 squared?
Minus 12 squared.
Is it 16?
Probably 144, 400.
Yeah, this is 16 of the unknown sides.
Yeah.
So then 16. Oh, we already know.
That's right. You already know that one. So girls, that's the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the longest side. You're finding the shorter side. One of the shorter ones, not the shortest. Those two, look, 12, 16, and 20 is the hypotenuse. It's the longest. Don't worry about the circle. Yeah. Have a look at your notation. Make sure you're using your squares where you're supposed to and your normal ones where you are meant to. Do you have the hypotenuse? Yes. You're finding a longer one or a shorter side? Shorter. It's because the x squared and the 24 squared equals 30 squared, so you've got to subtract. What do you do?
X squared equals 24 squared.
Girls, it's the longer one minus the other. Girls, you can't get a negative answer.
18.
What did you get here?
324. 324. And then 18.
All right. Now, girls, it's longer, the hypotenuse minus the other one. You don't do a short one minus a long one. You'll get a negative otherwise. Some side lengths. Great. 9 and it doesn't. So are you finding the hypotenuse or a shorter side? So x squared equals, doesn't matter if it's 6 squared plus 9 squared or 9 squared plus 6 squared, it's the same. It doesn't matter if you do 9 squared plus 6 squared or 6 squared plus 9 squared. When you're adding two numbers, it doesn't matter. So x is the square root of that, which is 10.816. Let's just go 10.8. 1 dp. Oh, 2 dp's. 816 is what? You had 806. Is it 816 or 806?
816.
So what is it to 2 dp's? Sorry.
10.882.
Yeah. Do what they say. It says 2 decimal places.
Miss, how are they 10 points? Oh, sorry.
All right, keep going. People have told me we're finding the hypotenuse here. Here we're finding a shorter side, so we're subtracting. Here we're finding a shorter side, so we're subtracting. This is a longer side, so we're adding. And this is a shorter side, so we're subtracting. We've got 6 problems, 6 diagrams. The foot of a ladder, the actual ladder is 3 meters long. I'm sure you've seen someone on a ladder. The ladders lean against the wall. The ladder is on an angle. Shh. Girls, so which diagram? The ladder is 3 meters. You still put a 0 on the end, yeah. The ladder is 1/2 a meter from the building. How far up the building will the ladder reach? So which diagram? It's E. The height of the building, I'll call it H or X, it doesn't matter. So you know, let's just match the diagrams. I'll let you find the side lengths later. Is this a long or a shorter side that you're finding? All right, so our main thing here, girls, is to match the diagram with the problem. You can finish the rest off for homework. Okay, let's look at this one, number 3. A 6-meter piece of wire acts as a support to a 3.5 meter pole. So the pole is 3.5 meters high, and the wire, just think of the flagpole at the front. Have you ever seen a flagpole? You've got the pole going up and the wires come off at a diagonal. How far from the base of the pole should the wire be pegged? All right, so that's your wire. That's your pole. Girls, no. We've matched up our problems, all right? Now we're just going to look at A and B. You should be able to do the others quite well. So girls, are you finding the hypotenuse or a shorter side with A?
A is 2.
Girls, are you finding the hypotenuse or the shorter side? So do we add or subtract? X squared is 5 squared plus 5 squared. X squared is, what's 5 squared plus 5 squared? 25 plus 25, 50. X is the square root of 50. So girls, what's the square root of 49?
7.
So square root of 50.
7.071.
Yep, so let's just go 7 point. Square root of 50 is exact. They want 2 decimal places. 7.07 is 2 decimal places. Now, girls, B is different. Girls, wait, I know I'm finding a shorter one, but you can't use shorter side subtract. It's not going to work. So you tell me what plus what is what. Go. You can't do, girls, stop. You cannot do this the other way. Girls, no, tell me when you first learnt Pythagoras and we did our, girls, where's the 3 and the 4?
A squared plus B squared equals 6.
Good. Just tell me which sides add up to the other one. Which ones?
X and X equal.
Good. X squared plus X squared is 5 squared. When you've got 2 unknowns, you can't do longer side minus shorter one. You've got to go back to the fundamentals. That the shorter side squared, X, that one squared plus this one squared is that one squared when you've got 2 unknowns like that, all right? I know they're both the same. Tell me what X plus X is. 2X. What's A plus A? 2A. 1X squared plus 1X squared is 2X squared is 25. 5 squared is 25. So X squared plus X squared is 5 squared. I know 5 squared is 25. So I've got that 2X squared is 25. Now remember when we were solving quadratics last term? Girls, 2 times X squared is 25. What do? Divide. I want to get the X squared on its own. No. Not yet.
Divide 25
By 2. 25 over 2, which is 12 and a half. So girls, we're going to do more of these. These are your harder types, all right? We're getting on to hard level 4 here. Girls, because 1x squared plus 1x squared is 2. Girls, go back to think about equations topic now. We're solving an equation. Something plus itself. You got 1x squared plus 1x squared. They're like terms. Is 2x squared. I need to get the x on its own. So, you know, if this is 2 times something is 25, then that x squared is 25 divided by 2, which is 12 and a half. Now what do I do? X is the square root of 12.5, which is going to be about 3 point something.
It is
3.7.
3.54.
Okay, we'll be doing more of those, girls. Yep, the x is 3.54. We're here. You know how we think that x squared plus x squared is 5 squared? You know how we know that now x is 3.54? If you did, I'm going to have to find some room. If you do 3.54 squared plus 3.54 squared, you should almost get 5. Like it might be a bit over 5, a bit under 5, because these are rounded off answers. No? You know how we got x is 3.54? Check your answer. If you now do 3.54 squared plus 3.54 squared, you should get, and square root it, you should get 25-ish.
Yeah, 25.
And then you've got to square root it. Do you know what I mean? And you would get 5. Doesn't it make sense that these two sides are shorter than the 5? 5's the hypotenuse. Girls are going to be doing more of these next lesson. All right, we're just starting. These for homework, but I'm going to help you. All you need to do is draw a diagram. Let's draw our diagrams. Find that, don't work them out. We're drawing the diagrams here. You will, I know, you'll be going home and finishing this page for homework. Find the length of a diagonal of a square with side length 5 centimeters. What do I draw? A square.
And draw a triangle, like a line.
And a line through it. And what do I write on it? Where are the 5s? The sides or the diagonal?
The sides.
So 5, 5.
Don't you need another line?
No, I don't need to go both ways. And what do I call this one?
That's X.
So I've got, now let's just look at the triangle only. 5, 5, and what's this one? X. Oops, you can't see it. There. So girls, I've got my square with the diagonal. I'll call that one X. If you want the triangle on its own, that's what you're doing. Rectangle.
So you can just draw.
Yep, just drawing. No, and you're working them out for homework.
I'm working them out.
Yes. So, the diagonal of a rectangle of length 35 and width 12. Where do I put the 35? On the short or the long side? The 35. And the 12. And right angle. And what am I finding? The length of the diagonal. The hypotenuse, I put X. Do you know what to do? You find X. Wait. Girls. Okay. The ladder on the wall should be fine. You should be fine with 5. You should be fine with the others. We need to do 3. The altitude. Where have you heard that word?
Geography. Aeroplane.
Aeroplanes, fantastic. Geography, great. Height, the vertical height, the perpendicular height. So what is the altitude? It's the height of the triangle. It's an equilateral triangle. So what should I write? And the sides are 16. So that's 16. What's the bottom? If this is 16, yeah, 8 and 8. And what sort of angle here do you think? Right angle. So girls, this is my triangle. I'm zooming in. And what do you think I'm finding? X. The X, that one.
So we're doing 16
That's right. So girls, the ladder one, you should be okay.
Are we doing the whole page?
Yes, the whole page. Girls, I'm doing the hard bit with you now. So girls, you should be able to do 5. It's just another rectangle. You should be able to do 6. You should be able to do 7. Let's just do the ladder. So girls, this is the ladder. There's the house. There's the ladder. All right, you put the numbers on. Where do they go? The bell's about to go. And we have to assume the building is straight up and down. How long's the ladder? A 15-meter ladder. The ladder is 15. And its foot is 4 meters from the base of the wall. Where does the 4 go? There or down here? And how high? That's your X. So girls, the rest should be fine. And you are to finish the page.